Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Well, President-elect of the United States, 47th President, soon to be sworn in January 20th, will Donald Trump be visiting Poland before he takes over the office officially? As you know, as you have been following, he is daily announcing his picks, his choices for the position in his administration. A lot of people have already been announced, and I will be discussing those picks that he's making with my guests. On Friday I have live stream scheduled with Scott Ritter. For sure I'm going to ask some questions about certain people that Trump has chosen. But what I want to tell you is this: is it possible? Will it be the situation that Donald Trump is actually visiting Poland before he takes over the office? Why I'm saying this? Our president, Andrzej Duda, was flying out to Azerbaijan, and before he left, it was on November 11th, he said those words to the journalists that have gathered, and he mentioned this. So let me read you. Since this was recorded on November 11th, as you know, this was Monday, so the day before yesterday, we had the Independence Day in Poland. This part of his, I wouldn't say interview, of his statements, announcements, this is the part about Trump and what to expect. So let's go through this. I will attach the original recording, original video down below in the description box. And Duda says, I wanted to convey to all my compatriots, because I was asked about it, best wishes from the President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. I just had a conversation with Mr. President. He called me to express his wishes in connection with our holiday and our Independence Day. He also asked to thank the Poles for their support, especially those Poles who live in the United States and who voted in the election. He said that he knows that the vast majority of Poles in the US, the Polish diaspora, so-called Polish Americans, voted for him. He said he is extremely grateful for it, that he remembers Poland, that he promises all of us here in the country and in the United States that he will always remember Poland in the best sense of the word. So I would like to convey these warmest wishes in connection with our Day of Independence and his thanks for the electoral support. We also agreed with Mr. President in this conversation that we will meet before he takes over officially the office, before the swearing in will take place in January. But we also talked in this context that in January, from January 1st, Poland takes over the presidency of European Union. As you might remember, one of the priorities we have in the presidency that is coming is to tighten the ties between the European Union and the United States. So we also want to talk to President-elect Donald Trump about this topic. We have tentatively agreed that such a meeting will take place before he takes office for a second term, before he is sworn in. This is preliminary agreement that has been made. No specific date has been determined yet. Our colleagues have to determine the moment and place, but first of all, these are the most important topics of the conversation outlines. Well, those are obvious ones: security issues, about economic cooperation between Poland and the United States, upcoming events that will take place starting with the Polish presidency through 3Cs summit, which will take place in Warsaw, and in which, let me remind you, in 2017 President Trump took part. We will also talk about the situation in Ukraine. He asked me about it, so we have a lot of topics to discuss. But certainly tightening cooperation between Poland and the United States, building this brotherhood and building security that is so important to us. Okay, here before we go to the second persona, and that is Sikorski, and how the Minister of Foreign Affairs responds to Trump winning, I want to say my, not being an expert, just an observer commentary here. What I think is this. First, whatever Trump tells them to do, they will do. So this to me, it's no-brainer. Will they meet? I think they will absolutely meet. I don't know how they will meet. If Duda will fly to the US, they meet there. If I don't think Trump will come to Poland, but maybe I will put this in the title because God only knows. This is a serious situation because we are going to see a lot of changes that many of those people were not expecting to take place. It's interesting to watch how happy Duda is that Trump is back, but I also remember how happy Duda was when Biden was visiting Poland multiple times. So it's not about if I trust Duda or if I trust Tusk, none of which I do. None of those who are in power in Poland I trust. But the point of this is that perhaps since US wants not, Trump's administration will focus on not supporting the conflict, but ending this conflict. And Poland, I'm not saying the country, I'm saying certain people might have to put their ego aside and their hunger for power and money aside, because it's gonna be interesting to see this. I don't know if he will come to Poland. If he comes to Poland, that will be very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, as you know, nothing disappears in the internet. And I will end this video. Before we end this video, I'm gonna read you the statements that Radosław Sikorski, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, the one who tweeted when there was still a Twitter, now it's X, after Nord Stream pipeline, poof, he tweeted, "Thank you, USA." The very same one. What he said about Trump. This will be the end of the video. Many things. He said, I have just 3 things to bring to you. I think 3 is enough. But let's go to him, because yesterday he was interviewed and there were some very good questions. So the question from the journalist was, what will be the situation of Ukraine after the election of Donald Trump as the president of the United States? And again, I will attach the video down below. Those of you who don't understand, you can turn on the translation, but I also advise you to watch the face expression and the body language, because that's how you really, really get to read the true message and energy of the person. So Sikorski answers, looking down, kind of knowing that he has to face those questions, but it was a little off energetically. He says, indeed, there are decisions hanging in the air on the scale of Potsdam. Do you remember Potsdam, guys, after World War II? Interesting that he brought this up. Indeed, there are decisions hanging in the air on the scale of Potsdam that can establish a new international order for decades. Today, I was talking about it with the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign and Security Policy, who was in Kiev for several days and is actually preparing us for a dramatic, perhaps, for the European Union Foreign Affairs Council next week, because massive decisions must or will be made, must or will not be made. So it looks like they might need some diapers, because it's a shitty situation. Continue the answer. Are we ready to... those are the main questions that the European Union now is having, Poland is having. Are we ready to allocate real funds, for example, frozen Russian assets, to support Ukraine? Are we ready to give Ukraine, for example, 1 year to strengthen its position to negotiate? So this is what Sikorski is hoping for. And the journalist says, whether 1 year will give Donald Trump. The question is, what will Donald Trump do in regards to Ukraine? And the journalist continues, the Secretary of State that is announced is to be Marco Rubio, who is against the United States aid to Ukraine and believes that this money is not known for what purpose was going to Ukraine. And here is Sikorski. But on the other hand, Trump's administration also cannot allow for the catastrophic failure of Ukraine, because the failure in Afghanistan was the burden for Biden's administration. Here, not everything is decided yet. I talked to the closest environment of Donald Trump. I talked to Mike Pompeo yesterday. By the way, he already knew that Pompeo is not going to take any position there. So he's talking to those who will not be chosen by Trump, looks like. I talked to Mike Pompeo yesterday, and there are different scenarios considered. How does he, if he believes in what Pompeo says, I don't think he has really that good connections, to be honest. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm just saying. And it's interesting that he says that Trump's administration cannot allow for the catastrophic failure of Ukraine. But isn't it already the reality of this? It's already the project that has failed a long time ago. It's like something that explodes, and it's a lot of like very nasty smell. And in the beginning you just like, it's smelling, and this smell, it's like a dust and a smoke, and it covers your vision. And then all settles down, but this, excuse my language, shitty smell still lingers. I think we are in this situation right now. Like we already know it's exploded, it's done. And now it's like just the smell remains, and ultimately the new air, wind of change comes, cleans the air, and this stinky, awful smell goes away too. So the journalist says, can President Andrzej Duda convince Trump that Ukraine has to decide about its sovereignty by itself and should not give its territories to Russia? Sikorski. I hope so. He already opposed, meaning Duda, Polish president, he already opposed the disinformation of Viktor Orban's on Ukrainian matters. So Viktor Orban looks like he's the agent of disinformation by Sikorski. Okay, very good, he said, Sikorski, that Duda opposed Viktor Orban. We will keep. So the Tusk administration, right? We have Donald Tusk, the prime minister, and we have Sikorski and all the others, the Polish Winnie the Pooh tiger with the backpack ready, Kosiniak-Kamysz, the Minister of National Defense. I think by now many of you know the characters in this movie. We will keep our fingers crossed, but it will be also a test of his efficiency. He calls President Trump his friend. So Sikorski says that Duda calls President Trump his friend. I don't think Trump calls him his friend, but that's just my, I don't know about it. He calls President Trump his friend, so it will turn out whether he has influence on his friend, or was he just used to solicit votes from the Polish voters? Journalist. And what impact on our Polish-American relations will have the fact that Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk a year ago in 2023 said about Donald Trump that without any discussion he is a Russian agent? You remember the video I recorded a few days ago about what Tusk said about Trump? I mean, many people said about Trump, right? And Sikorski says, no, he didn't say that. And he won't have any impact. If what Trump wrote about various people, and he started to refocus this answer on what Trump has said, but the journalists stay on the topic because it's this is documented, okay? This is recorded what Tusk has said. And if you don't know what he said, maybe I will find this video again and you can literally listen to word by word what he's saying. He is saying his own opinion, okay? That, let me tell you how Sikorski twists this now. First he said that he didn't say it, that Tusk didn't said that Trump is Russian agent for 30 years, by the way, but it was not in the question. I'm just quoting Tusk. And journalist, he said it, Sikorski. He was quoting American sources, but he didn't say it from himself. You see, guys? I mean, they just lie in your face. They lie and they twist it, and they have zero backbone or dignity to even. You know what? If someone said it, things happen, right? People say different things, but just own it. Just when it comes this moment, when you are faced with the evidence of what you said, is recorded, is not just the audio, it's the video and the audio. And there are many posts and many tweets. Just own it. It said, you know what, I said it, but I'm sorry, or I regret it. Yes, I said it, I wouldn't say it now, or something. Just own it. Or maybe I said it, I thought like this in that time. No. Yeah, zero. Zero character, zero backbone. So, yeah, he directed the conversation to what J.D. Vance has said about Trump, that he called Trump a Hitler, and now J.D. Vance is the vice president. So it really doesn't matter what you say about Trump, because you might end up as a vice president anyway. I mean, so on that note, let's end with what Sikorski has said about Trump. And probably when someone will ask him about it, he said that he never said it, or he was just quoting American sources. So from July 23rd, 2016, he says, Trump, Putin's man in the White House. Then we have another post. Taking apart the European Union is the foreign policy goal of the Trump's administration. That's a nice goal, actually. And then we have last, but definitely not least, the one that is like that smell, you know, that I just described to you. Hillary is glad that Trump got the Republican nomination because she can't lose to such a jerk. Oh. You see, nothing disappears in the internet. It's kind of like energy. Energy is never destroyed and is just transmuted. So it changes the forms from this to another. That's all I have for you, everyone. No comments of the day, because those are the comments. I mean, what can I tell you? This is the current reality in Polonia. Polonia facing Donald Trump's presidency. Oh, it's gonna be, I'm telling you, I just wonder how this domino, like Chinese domino, will fall with those people in the positions, because we're gonna see it all around, not just like in Germany, but many other countries. The links are down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, for hitting this like, sharing, subscribing, leaving the comments down below. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for supporting me on Locals and Patreon, for the donations on PayPal. I appreciate each and every one of those very much. Follow me on Instagram. It's AniaK_44. And if you're interested, check out my book. I collaborated on with Scott Ritter. Our interview live stream is scheduled for this coming Friday. Lots of love, everyone. And remember, we are the leading edge, and we are saving humanity. Bye, everyone.